everyone, and welcome back. I hope you are staying warm and bundled up. It's a fascinating day today. I missed the snow actually. It's a lot of snow today. It took me a long time to shovel the front of my home, and it also took me a while to. Sorry, I just want to mute everybody for a moment. Okay, just to. Took me a while to get myself organized. My wife was smart enough to escape New York on Sunday. She took my daughters to Orlando. Every couple of years we switch off. I take the boys, she takes the girls. We do like a father and son kind of like a weekend getaway. And so she's with the girls right now in Orlando, and I'm stuck. I'm not stuck. I'm actually very happy to be at home with my two younger children. So it's been a lot of fun keeping them entertained and trying to prepare and having to do homework with them later tonight. So let's just dive right in. Last week when we spoke about the ant. And we spoke about the idea of conquering our laziness, and that laziness often gets in the way of our desire to truly want to be great. Because I really believe that at the core of who we are as human beings, we desire to be good. We desire to do what is right. We want to be doing the right things, but we get distracted. We're human. We make mistakes. And that's okay to make mistakes. As long as the focus is that I want to be better, that I am thinking deeply about becoming great, it's okay. We're entitled to go ahead and make mistakes. Life is such, c'est la vie, right? Life is such where we make mistakes and we just don't allow those mistakes to define us. And that's the ikar. The ikar is that when we make the mistakes, we recognize that the mistake is not me. The word chet means missing the mark, right? It's not a sin. It's that I did not hit the target of what I was meant to accomplish. In today's psukim, Shlomo HaMelech, King Solomon, talks to us a little bit about being dishonest. And before I begin, I think it's important just to mention how important honesty is. I mean, I don't have to say it. I think everyone here knows that. Yeah, it's so important to be honest. But I want you to understand how important honesty is from the lens of Judaism. There is a famous Mishnah in Pirkei Avot. It's a quote of Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, and he says, "Al shlosha dvarim haolam omed." There are on three pillars that the world stands on: al hadin, val ha'amet, val ha'shalom. The three things that the world rests upon is justice, truth, and on peace. And he quotes a pasuk from Zechariah. It says, "Emet u'mishpat shalom shiftu b'sha'arechem." You should execute judgment of truth and peace in your gates, in everything that we do. And every action that we do, these are the principles that we need to live by. Din is one of justice, of living in a world where I am striving to do what is right, what is morally correct, what is halachically correct. Emet is striving for truth in everything that I can do, right? And I say strive for it because it's so difficult to hold on to truths. And we have to do everything we can to fight to bring truth into the world. It's kind of ironic that we are living at a time in history where we are ignoring truths. I have a problem when our president signs executive orders, telling us that we have to accept people of a particular gender, biological gender, but identify with another gender. I have a hard time with that. I'm not trying to be insensitive at all. Of course, people who are confused should get help. But if you are biologically male, I have a hard time calling you female if you're still a male. They're saying how you have all these new world records that are going to be broken in the arena of female sports because you're going to have men who are going to take advantage of this system and who are going to they have a they tried to create some kind of limitation. So that means if you're a guy and you're going through, when you spent a year, 12 months of going through hormone therapy, they'll let you in. But come on, you have a guy who's 300 pounds, who's like who's got the chest of a gorilla. Okay, even if he has a year of hormone treatments, he's still going to bench press 500 pounds without a problem. It's still not fair. because biologically he is a male. He's going through treatments to become a female. The point that I'm making is like this: there's something called emet, and when we live in a world where truths are determined by emotions, we create a very dangerous world. We create a very dangerous world where we have double standards, and there's no underlying truths that guide our principles in life. Very, very dangerous. And that's what Rabbi Shimon is saying over here. Alam omed al shlosha devarim al adin al amet al shalom. Of course, peace is obvious without shalom. Im en shalom, my favorite quote from Rashi, im en shalom en klum. No matter how much prosperity you have, no matter how much wealth you have, if you got no peace, you got nothing, my friend. So, okay, let's try to see some of these psukim over here. Okay, so we're in the sixth parak. We're in pasuk yod. Yeah. So he says, "Ma'at sheinotu ma'at trumot ma'at chibuk yadayim lishkov." A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to lie. Ubo kemahalach roshecha u'mesarecha ki ish magen. Your poverty will come like a fast walker, and your wants as an armed man. Adam b'li'al ish avon holech ikushut peh. An unscrupulous man, a man of violence, who walks with a crooked mouth. Korea be'enav molel baraglav. He winks or he rolls his eyes. He shuffles molel baraglav. He shuffles his feet. Umoreh be'atzbatav, and he points with his fingers. Hapuchot belibo choresh ra b'chol et. Right, his contrarianness is in his heart. He's always thinking of different things. Choresh ra, he's always plotting evil at all times. B'chol et, midanim midyanim ishlach, and he incites and quarrels every single moment. That's when he says al ken. Therefore, pitom yavo, calamity will come suddenly. Peta yishaber ve'ein merapeh, he will suddenly be broken beyond repair. This is Shlomo HaMelech's ideas of what happens when a person lives in a world of lying. So let's double click on these psukim and see what information we can get out of them. Okay, so he says as follows. He says, Uba kemahalach roshecha, right? Your poverty will come like a traveler, right? So what does he mean over here? He says poverty will swiftly overtake someone who acts in the manner described in the verse above in pasuk 10. Ma'at shenot, ma'at numot, ma'at chibuk yadayim nishkav. A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding the hands to recline. Right? You live in that world where this is a continuation from last week of laziness. You don't live in the world of the ants. You're in trouble. The result of this attitude is that your poverty will come like a traveler. You'll have nothing. If you are not proactive in everything that you do, okay, you will have nothing. Your loss will be like a shield bearer, right? His loss will come so quickly, just like a shield bearer who rushes to protect his master, right? Metaphorically, right? We're talking about those who are too lazy to engage in any kind of study, but specifically Torah. If someone recognizes the price he pays for spiritual neglect, like someone who realizes how much money he loses through, his being inattention, lack of focus, he therefore should repent and arouse himself to work with tremendous amount of diligence to regain what he lost. It'll be difficult, but he can certainly do it. Dishonest people will destroy themselves. Okay, and this is what these psukim are talking about over here. Adam b'li'al, right? The lawless man is a man of iniquity. What does that mean, right? So he goes forth and with tremendous amount of distortion of the mouth. The word b'li'al, a lawless man, is a contraction of two words. B'li'ol, without a yoke, right? He casts off any type of sovereignty of God. He doesn't believe in anything but himself. So that kind of a person perverts his speech with all kinds of slander. Okay, the verse tells us about three kinds of evildoers. A lawless man, right? This person does evil deeds and he fears no one. You have a man of iniquity. He speaks nicely, but He has all kinds of evil thoughts. We know people like that. They say one thing on the outside, but on the inside, you know exactly what they're thinking, right? And then you have someone who's the distortion of the mouth. That refers to a person who is engaged in evil speech. Koretz be'enav, right? He winks with his eyes, but really we know this is the guy that rolls his eyes, right? He's presenting himself as being one way, but his inner reality is not aligned with his outer truths, okay? Or his outer reality is not aligned with his inner truths. Wicked people use all kinds of gestures to signify the contempt for those who they disagree with, right? So he winks his eyes, he shuffles his feet, he points with his fingers, he does all sorts of things to kind of like, just show you that he's really not interested. So he's teaching us over here a little bit of body language, right? When someone's telling you something, when someone's sharing information, they're telling you a story, they're giving you input, don't just listen with your ears. Also, Shlomo HaMelech is saying, listen with your eyes. Those are all tells. How he speaks, the eye movements, his hand gestures, all these things are all there to help us get a deeper understanding of who this person is and what he's really thinking. Okay, he lives a life of duplicity. He lives a life of falsehood. So therefore, we have everything at hand to be able to determine if this person is giving us a true report or a false report. Okay, so he has duplicity in his heart, right? He thinks about how he can misrepresent facts. He says yes, but does not mean it. This is so true with things that are happening today in the world, the news. Like there's the whole GameStop, Robinhood versus Wall Street bets. I'm not sure if you're following the news. I love this stuff. And you have people getting on the CEO of Robinhood saying, of course, we're trying to protect the consumer, and really they're really trying to protect themselves. And people say one thing, but they really mean something else. And there's just so much spin. It's so hard to know. It's amazing. We listen to the news, and when I hear the news, especially in finance, if you see an article on CNBC that says Apple is not going to get this contract, it's because someone in the hedge fund world wants to short Apple and or buy Apple at a cheaper price, right? It's just amazing how and people are open about it. Like, you can't believe what you read in the news today. You could open up one article and have one truth, and another article that says completely opposite. Two science journals, opposite facts. We see what's going on with coronavirus. How many masks do you have to put on? 2 masks are better than 1 mask. 5 masks are better than 2 masks. It's endless. And I'm waiting to hear some public officials just to say, bottom line is we just don't know. We really don't know what the truth is. But based on whatever little knowledge we have, we are assuming that this is the right way to respond. But to come out and say, no, this is the way, is a mistake. Because we're breeding a whole entire generation of people that don't understand what emet is. And if that's the priority, I said this last night, I really believe that the most important things we could be teaching our children, if we could close all the schools and start over again, it would be, how do we teach them to live a life of those 3 principles of Rabban Gamliel? How do we teach people to live in a world of din, of emet, and shalom? Those are the principles that need to govern every decision that we make as a society, as a people, as individuals. That's what we need in our lives. That's what's so missing. That's what's so missing from the conversation of everyone in politics today. On every side, right, left, center, wherever you are, it doesn't matter, because the issue is systemic right now. The issue is in the culture. It's how we speak with each other, how we communicate with each other. It's about how I will say things, or people will say things that are sensational just to get what they call bait click. You'll have titles in news articles that are written sensationally on purpose, so you'll push them. That is mamash manipulation, right? There's no emet there, right? And the evildoer is duplicity. He's duplicitous in his heart. He thinks about how he can misrepresent facts. If you know someone who is always purposefully, willfully, who knows real facts, but uses alternate facts, right? Stay away from them. That's what Shlomo is saying. Shlomo HaMelech, the wisest man in the world, is teaching you an insight about humanity, society, and people. Choresh Rabba Cholet. A person who is duplicitous right, in his heart, is someone who plots evil all the time. You think it's just, oh, he's talking bad about your friend because he did bad for him in business. But I'm telling you right now, if someone is telling you something evil, something negative, evil speech about your friend, I, I have a very strong suspicion he's doing the same about you to somebody else. Okay, he's doing the same thing. This guy is plotting evil all the time. He has no all, right? There's no yoke there. He stirs up strife. He causes all kinds of discord between man and his creator, right? And man, right? This guy is always just looking to fight. And honestly, I don't know about you. Some people enjoy a good argument. I'm tired. I don't like arguing. I would much rather say we agree to disagree. I could respect that you have a different opinion. We don't have to agree on everything. It doesn't have to be a fight. There was a time where we could disagree with people and still be friends and not have negative thoughts about those people. And unfortunately, that is a lost art in this generation. Okay, so he continues. He says, Al Ken, therefore, okay, this is the highlight over here. This is how he ends this idea. He says, Al Ken, pitoom yavo edo peta yishbor be'ein merapeh. Okay, therefore, his misfortune will come suddenly and he will be broken in an instant without any kind of healing, right? So after describing his evil, the pasuk tells us the consequence. What's the consequence of a guy who's living in a life without emet, who's living a life without deen, who's living a life without true justice and truth in his life, right? So there are two terms that denote immediacy in these psukim. Pitom, that is the immediacy of time, and something called peta. Peta denotes swiftness of action, okay? So this guy will not be aware of his imminent downfall. He's so lost in the spinning of the lies that he's living in, he doesn't even know that he's standing at the edge of a cliff. He's standing at the edge of a cliff and he's going to be pushed off at any moment. He has no idea because he's so lost in his own delusion. Since he's always thinking about how he can harm others, his sudden calamity will allow him to have no time to plan how he's going to save himself. This guy is a sinking ship. He already hit an iceberg and he has no idea. And he'll have no remedy, right? Because there won't be any, when we say no remedy, right? En marapeh, the refu'ah that Shlomo HaMelech is talking about is that he won't have time to do teshuvah. He'll get so lost in his own arrogance. He'll get so lost in his own little myopic reality that he won't have time to do anything. He won't have time to say goodbye. He's lost in his world. So Shlomo HaMelech in this perek has been telling us a couple of things. One, don't be lazy. Number two, emet is the midah that we need to strive to have. Now, I'm going to give you a very brief working definition of the word emet, okay? Because emet and emunah actually go together, and most people don't fully understand them. The Radak says that the word emunah comes from the shoresh of emet, which is kind of weird. Like, well, I always thought that emunah was just faith. And faith is faith. Like, you have faith is belief, right? Emunah, belief. And emet is truth. That's what we're all striving for. I want to live a life of truth. Do you have belief that your spouse loves you, that your girlfriend or boyfriend loves you, or do you know that they love you? There's a difference between the emet, the knowledge of, versus believing of. So I'm going to say it like this, okay? This is a deep Kabbalistic idea. Emet is something that only takes place in the present. It does not take place in the past. Whereas emunah is something that could only live in the past and never in the present. Emet is something that can only be seen and never be heard. Whereas emunah is something that can only be heard and never be seen. Okay, I'm sounding like Yoda. So let's explain. Emet is a truth. Okay, right now, in this conversation right now, we are having a true conversation. And it's very hard for you to argue that I'm not speaking about Emet right now because we're all here and you all heard it. Now, tomorrow, when we walk away from this conversation, or as soon as I end this call tonight, we'll debate what I actually said. What did the rabbi speak about? I don't know. He spoke about ants again. I think he spoke about laziness. Maybe he spoke about truth or justice. I don't remember something about a shield. I don't remember, it's unclear. After we walk away from this moment, you will not have truth anymore of this conversation. You will have a faithfulness to aspects of what was shared in tonight's conversation. You'll have emunah. But the way emunah works is very profound. Emunah does not work on its own. Emunah is always attached to emet, because the nature of emet is such that once we have it, and we have it right now, and as soon as we walk away from this moment in time, poof, it's gone. As time moves forward, we lose emet. And what's supposed to happen next is that we segue from emet into something called emunah, into being faithful to the truth. That's why the word emunah has the shorsh of the word emet in it. Emunah cannot exist without emet. So you can't have blind faith in Judaism, right? It doesn't work. You could have bitachon, you could have trust. But as far as emunah goes, emunah is very, very much tied in tandem to emet. You first have emet. We have our emet moments. We have these moments where we have these truths, and then we lose it. And then we segue from emet into something called emunah, where we're holding on, we're being faithful to these moments of emet and truth. God willing, next week we're going to continue on where Shlomo Melech goes through the 6 different types of character traits that express, he expresses all types of destructive behavior that are tied to arrogance and the root of all evil. I apologize for ending this a little earlier. I have to get onto a learning session with my son because he has homework that I'm going to do with him tonight. Someone said to me, are you babysitting tonight? I'm like, it's not babysitting when it's your kid, it's called fathering. So I'm going to go father my kids. Wishing you all a lovely night at Shavua Tov. You should be safe, warm, and enjoy the rest of this time with your kids at home, with family and friends. Lots of love, everybody. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you for listening.
You. That was beautiful. It was so nice.
Brachim to you.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Love it.
Thank you.
Enjoy your baby. How old is he? Fathering. Okay, great.
I
bet you're a great teacher. You must be a very good teacher.
Thank you.
To your kids.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, good night, everybody. Lots of love. Hopefully we'll see you on Wednesday.